Let's try to understand the concept of burnout with a simple, but a very important and very essential model. You can call it as a theory, you can call it as a model. And this model not only helps you in understanding the burnout in detail, but if you understand this model in detail, you will also be able to identify the strategies which are appropriate to avoid burnout. Now, this is the point which is reflecting on the screen, how a burnout happens, how an athlete faces these characteristics. Let's try to understand. And again, I'm repeating that if you understand this model of the model of burnout, which we refer as cognitive-affective model, this is a four-stage model proposed by Smith in 1986. It still have a lot of relevance, and this model gives you a very good understanding of what are the effective strategies to prevent burnout among the athletes. So this four-stage model, when we talk about, starts from the situational demands. When there is situational demands are such that the athlete is not able to negotiate it, it leads to a second stage, which is referred as cognitive appraisal. And once the cognitive appraisal happens among the athlete due to the non-effective negotiation with the situational demands, physiological responses take place, which is stage number 3. And these physiological responses in stage 3, when it happens, then it ventures into stage 4, that is behavioral response. Now, let's try to understand this four-stage model in detail. And as I just mentioned that once we understand this all the four stages, all the participants will get a clear understanding that from where are we supposed to start, from where are we supposed to help an athlete to avoid burnout in future. Now, as we just said that the burnout starts with the situational demands. When we talk about situational demands, athletes always confront with various types of demand, and most of the time they are able to adapt to it. But there are situations when the situational demands are beyond their ability, beyond their capacity, beyond their capability. In short, the demands of the situation overweigh their potential or existing resources. Example, undesired pressure to win, excessive practice and training time. Now, these situational demands are challenging sometimes for the athletes to meet, maybe because of the inappropriate age group, inappropriate level in which they are training, or the reason may also be the aspiration. Now, for example, if the athlete is in a training group of a higher age group, the athlete will have the challenge of meeting the demands of the training session. Or athlete is an intermediate level or a beginner level being put into an advanced training level group or into an advanced ability group. Athlete will surely have the problem of confronting with the training demands. The training situational demands will always overweight his potential abilities. Similarly, aspiration. It's very interesting. Sometimes athletes are expected to do well in academics. They are expected to do very well in sports, or even they may be expected to do good in music and art also along with that. But do that athlete have the aspiration to perform in sports? If the athlete doesn't have the aspiration to do in sports, but he has been pushed into the sports by the family or the peer group pressure or someone else, the athlete will always have this problem of confronting with the demands of the sports. The athlete will always have a challenging situation of finding himself wherein the demand of the situation, the training demands always overweigh his or her abilities. This is the most important, the basics, the first stage of situational demand, which we have to help the athletes not to face it out. So, putting an athlete into the right age group, identifying the athlete's ability or ensuring the level, the training level, and understanding the aspirations of the athlete in the beginning of the training program itself is very, very important. And this stage one gives us a very clear model that if we as sports psychologists or if we as coaches with understanding of sports psychology, when we're dealing with the athletes, it's not just about the potential, it's not just about the skill set which is important to be taken care of. We have to create environment and situations wherein athletes do not and should not have the problem of confronting with the situational demands or the training demands. But if we are not able to manage it, if the athlete is not able to confront this training demands and the situational demands, it leads to the stage 2, which is cognitive appraisal, wherein athlete interprets the situation and athlete starts appraising that yes, there is a problem, yes, I can't do it, yes, there is an issue, yes, there is a problem of not able to do, which creates a threatening situation. This threatening situation may be in form of excessive perceived load, that no, I cannot run this much, no, I cannot do this much of workout, no, I cannot do this much of scale. Lack of control, that yes, no, I may not be able to do it, no, may not be able to perform it. Feeling of helplessness, always finding into trouble. Lack of purpose, not having the right vision, why I am doing it out. And the moment stage 1 happens, the moment we do not take care of the athletes, helping in meeting the situational demands, or when the situational demands or the training demands overpower the athlete's potential, the threatening situation arises, and this is level 2, stage 2 of the athlete of cognitive appraisal, wherein athletes really start feeling helpless, really start lacking the purpose of the activity, really start losing the control over the system, and surely there is a decrease in the self-belief that this he or she can do it. Now, what happens when this cognitive appraisal happens? The moment cognitive appraisal happens, the moment athlete interprets and appraises that situation is threatening, it leads to the physiological response, which is of the stage 3. So, the moment the perceived threat happens, it leads to lot many physiological responses which can be reflected or manifested in forms of anxiety, depression, insomnia, fatigue, and various other susceptibility to the illness. You start seeing that athletes complained about stomachache, athletes complained about regular illness, athlete complains about so many illness issues, athletes start showing depressive condition situation reflections, athletes start showing fatigueness, tiredness into it, and athletes starts reflecting too much of anxiety. These are all reasons because of the stage 1 athlete not able to meet the situational demands, the training demands, which led to stage number two, wherein the athlete starts interpreting and appraising the situation as threatening. And the moment the athlete starts interpreting the situation as threatening, it leads to various physiological responses. And here, from the physiological response, the most dangerous situation, the final stage, according to Smith, is stage 4, wherein they start reflecting the behavioral response. This is the fourth stage wherein they start showing the symptoms of decrease in the performance. They start having lot many interpersonal differences, and we start seeing the withdrawal of athlete from the sports performance. We start seeing reflections of absenteeism. We start seeing the late attendance in the training sessions, or to a larger extent stopping up with or continuing with the sports training activities. So this is how the burnout happens. And this model is very important for us and everyone to understand, to work out with the athletes, to avoid, to strategize preventing the burnouts. And obviously, the first aspect is to work on the situational demands. And yes, that is why these aspects of creating age appropriate training is very important. Putting the child according to their ability and capability is very important. It is very essential that athletes should be added onto the training or the training system wherein for which they are capable for, or to which they can adapt for. And it's also very important that athletes should be having aspiration towards sports. All the participants, you may be able to get a good idea about it, that how we can help athletes prevent burnout.